Okay, well, I'll just jump right in.
Okay.
One of the sort of underlying things that's always been the case with Supernatural is that the fans haven't necessarily taken to female characters being around a whole lot. And this year you're bringing in Amelia. How do you feel like they're going to react? And did you guys take a different approach to it this time to try to win them over?
No, we're arrogant beasts. We have no interest in the fan response. Yes. I think it's a real challenge. I mean, that's been a persistent thing. And so if you're in season 8 of a show and you want to look at the areas that are challenging, that haven't yet, mountains that haven't yet been fully summited, then what is it for these guys to have outward relationships, especially outward relationships, or in this case Sam, an outward relationship with a female? I mean, those are challenging issues for this show because there's such a sense of, like, first of all, it's hard because they should be alone in so many ways. It's important for them to be these pariahs, but they also have to remain and retain their humanity in a sense, so they have to remain connected. Anyway, strategies for that, I think actually the strategy we're applying to this time is to actually be as small as you can be with the telling of that story and keep it as divorced as possible from the massive operatic influence of the supernatural. So oddly, we're trying to tell as much of a naturalistic story for Sam and his relationship as we can in the confines of the supernatural world. It's just, we've been around this for 8 years. All of the ones who've watched it for 8 years, we've all grown up in a certain sense with some of this stuff. So we're just playing with different earthquake, different stuff. And blah, blah, blah.
How's Dean going to feel when he comes back and he sees the life that Sam's living? Is he going to feel resentful that his brother didn't find a way to help him? Is he going to be happy and relieved that he's found a new life?
I think initially the former. Why didn't you look? We have a tacit agreement that we always break our agreement not to look. Why didn't you lie and look? You know what I mean? But I think that too, it gets to a large philosophical issue that they need to grapple with, which is how do you live a life? How do you live a life in the context of all they've done has been at the service of this terrible, crushing duty. And Sam actually took time out to try and see again what the world was. If you're a hero and you're losing your substance, you can't fight anymore because you don't know what you're fighting for. And if you're not connected to the prize in an intimate way, this is testing that material a little bit. It sounds grown up when I say it.
One of the continuing themes between the two brothers is their inability to be honest with each other.
Yes.
How do you balance that as a writer to where it doesn't get unbelievably dishonest?
I know what you mean. Yeah. I think that we run that risk sometimes. And I think that ultimately the way to frame that, they are pathologically dishonest with each other because John Winchester is pathologically elusive to them. They learned, truth is this dangerous thing and you shouldn't speak it. He even taught them to keep secrets from each other for strategic purposes. So when you look at the dysfunction that they show to each other, it comes directly from how they were brought up. And that's a kind of dysfunction that people in this world routinely face. It's this thing. Why didn't my dad tell me that he loved me yesterday? I mean, why are these, we're just people sharing the same kind of thing. Why isn't there more disclosure? It seems cliche when we watch it on TV, but it's actually happening all around us. But I do believe that that's a tension that we have to be careful with because we've played it so many times. And I think it does sometimes weigh on the patience. So, a lot of episodes. Watch a different one.
One last question.
Okay.
What would you say is the overarching theme of next season for you?
For me?
Yeah.
Footwear. For them?
For them.
you know, I'm interpreting in a sense, but like I do feel like by looking, in some ways, I mean, there's this big giant story about like dealing with our world and everything in it. There's no particular big bad. There's all of the history suddenly looking at itself from across the wrestling match and going, wait, do you have the thing I need? And the Crowley's going like, wait, you know, I mean, everyone we've established around a table like this, just playing a game of poker over the future of Supernatural, which is a different place we've been. So we're going to play that out, but I think also, again, human themes, going from up here where you're flying around with leviathans and angels and all this stuff to a small relationship where you can actually see a human face and get there. I mean, like we'll see how we do, but that's our ambition. Great.
Thank you.